Hey everyone, I just want to show you what I consider to be a major development in my progress and my experience with the Auto World Victory 400 set. I rarely took this out to use since I bought it in November. If you saw my first video, I set it up on the floor the way it was shown on the box in that configuration, and I tested everything, and everything seemed to be working fine. But then I had set up just a test oval on top of my track here, and just to experiment with some cars and stuff. And I began to notice an issue where when I would let off the throttle at the end of a long straight, well, as long as the straight as I have here, I would let off the throttle, at a certain point that I'm familiar with. Now, I'm not the greatest slot car racer in the world, but I have driven millions of laps around the slot car track throughout my life, and I know when I make a mistake, I screw up. I took the turn too hard. That it's my fault. But what was happening and what I was experiencing was that it wasn't my fault, and I could tell as I would get down to the end of the straightaway. I would lift off a little bit, after some practice, just about how long, where that breaking point is. And I would, even if I let off earlier than I thought I should, every now and then, now on this configuration, this basic oval, every now and then it would be like maybe every 5 or 6 lap, one of the turns, the car would just, I would lift off, like I normally would take a turn, and it would just keep on going on its own power and shoot off into space. And I knew it was an issue that was out of my control. It had something to do with this or the controller. So I tested on every lap with every controller I had. I made sure my controllers were charged. I used Auto World cars, and I noticed that issue was happening all the time. Every fifth or sixth lap, I would say, no more than 10 laps before it would just shoot off out of my control. And I know there's nothing physically sticking on the throttle. It was every controller, and there's nothing like a physical issue. There had to be some sort of issue within the electronics. And so, this was in November. I got the set when I first set it up here, and I started noticing that. So by December, the holidays came and went, and then in January, I contacted Auto World, round two, and I let them know the issue. And they said the first thing they told me was make sure that the variable, voltage is turned down to like 10 or 11 o'clock. And I said, yes, that's where I have it. And it's experiencing that issue all the time, intermittently. And they said, okay, well, we'll work on sending you a replacement piece for this, and we'll see how it goes. But, there was a guy that I spoke to there, and he was very nice, always got back with me. And he said that at the moment, and this was in January, he said, we don't have the replacement parts, but we're expecting them to come in. Just hang on, bear with us. And I was like, okay, So finally, months later, now this is now May of 2023. This is 6 months after I bought my set. I finally got, well, they actually sent me, I thought it was going to be this entire 4-lane piece here, but they only sent me the outer lane because I did have another issue while I was checking that first issue. In that lane 3 here, it would stick. I mean, it would stay on even without pressing a controller. I even put the controllers outside the house, and you would put a car on the track and it would just go on its own. And so I told them about that as another issue. So they sent me what I thought was going to be the 4 lanes, but no, they sent the 2 outer lanes here to connect into there. No instructions or anything. They just, here you go. That was it. And so I was like, I don't think this is going to solve my issue. That may solve my issue of the lane 3 sticking like that, but I don't think it's going to solve it, but I'll try it. So I set up another test track, put that in there and tried it. And okay, that solved the lane 3 sticking issue, but everything else was exactly the same. It was exactly the same to where You go into the turns and you let off the throttle, and through no fault of my own, I know my driving skills and I know I'm not that bad, that it would just shoot off on its own will. It would just continue, just like a throttle stuck right into the wall. And so finally, the other day, I received a complete package of both of these tracks to put together, and now I've set up the 4-lane, and I believe it's working okay so far. Now I've driven around, and I could show you. It's hard to drive with the camera, but okay, that was my own fault. I could tell. And what I just did there was something I was not able to do in the past, since I really purchased this track and, you know, played with cars at speed and not just driving them around the track. Playing with them at speed, I know my mistakes, but this was not my mistake. And what I just did there was something I was never able to do. So I think that's a great development. I think I finally got the right pieces. If you've experienced an issue with this, let me know. Let round 2 know what's going on, because I don't think I'm the only one having this issue. I remember sometime in the past, sometime in January, I think it was, of 2023, I think it was Mark's Slot Car Garage. I'm not sure about that, but I think he said he had the same issue, and they sent him a new piece, and the issue was gone. Now, the only thing, now I still have to experiment more on this, but the only thing I'm seeing now is every so often when I deslot, if I deslot, say over here for some reason, and I go to put the car back on the track, there's no power. In this case there was, but there's no power. And now I have a rough setup over here where, I could get these tabs, all straightened up. I just have a temporary thing. But I know that's not the case, because nowhere on the track is power until I bring the car back to this section, and then the power is there again. Oops. The power is back again. So that's just something I have to keep looking at, and let me know if you've experienced an issue with that. The controller lag, I'm not bothered by that. I could deal with that. I don't even really notice it, to be honest with you. Maybe I will when, we begin racing. I want to have a permanent layout for this track in the garage. And at some point, we're going to clear out the garage and make a space for this. And I'll set that up. But until then, this is just for practice and just to hang out with, maybe put it on the floor when the grandkids come over. So finally they can race on a wireless HO track on the floor. I've been waiting for that since November of 2022, and here it's May of 2023. So looking forward to that and hoping that happens. And just checking on that connectivity, whatever it is. It could be maybe when it, I'm thinking when it deslots, that somehow it shorts out the track a little bit. And I'll have to see if it takes a little time, if it's a few seconds for it to reset or something, or if it is an issue that you have to put it back here, which if that's the case, it's just not right. But well, we'll see how that happens. And in the meantime, I'm just enjoying it, because this is something I haven't been able to do since receiving this set 6 months ago. All right, so let me know your thoughts. If you've experienced anything like that, let me know. That was my fault. So let me know how it goes. And thanks for watching. Take care.